Hello and welcome to End Focus, coming to you this week from the Academy in the world of Elregear. I am your host Hilka. Joining me, not as always, is my co-host Seskra. How are you doing today?
Joining you as increasingly frequently, for soon my time is at hand. I'm doing good. How about you?
Yeah, I'm good. Also, it's really warm today. I'm very excited, he said sarcastically, to go outside and do groceries after we finish this. Cards on the table, folks. We're recording this in the morning. Because that's a rare opportunity, I guess.
It is slightly less muggy.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to doing more End Focus today. And before we get into that, I wanted to remind everybody that we have a Patreon. That's patreon.com/gamepodular. If you want to send us money there, you can. You don't have to, but if you have some extra cash lying around and you want to send it our way, we would really appreciate it. You can also do the same at our Ko-fi, kofi.com/gamepodular. You can... I almost went into the streams spiel to talk about like where you can listen to our podcasts. But if you are listening to our podcasts, you've probably already figured that out.
And if you haven't, maybe let us know how you found this. Like, were we playing in the background in a bar somewhere?
That'd be kind of sick, honestly. If you do discover us playing in the background at a bar somewhere, please let us know at our Discord, which you can find on the website or by going to our Twitch chat and typing !Discord in the chat, in which you'll get an invite link. Or you can also hit us up on Blue Sky at... I think our Blue Sky handle is literally just at gamepodular.com because we've been domain verified. It's very convenient. Mm-hmm. If you are listening to our podcast on YouTube, be sure to leave a like and a comment and subscribe to the channel if you aren't already. Do all the stuff that YouTube tells you to do to increase engagement. I love metrics.
We actually do. We sincerely appreciate everybody who, like, in begrudgingly endures that part of the system in order to help us get the word out.
Yes. Honestly, yes. I just, I have my own misgivings with YouTube as a platform. But the people who use YouTube to listen to our podcasts, big fan. Thank you very much.
You can't see me, but I promise I'm making like a hand heart emoji.
You can also go to youtube.com/@gamepodular streams highlights to watch VODs of our Twitch streams, highlight compilations, and the occasional YouTube short. I think that's everything. So let's go to the news. Our first news story today concerns Nintendo Today, an app that is relevant just infrequently enough that I forget it exists despite being on my phone. Nintendo used it to announce a new mobile game, Pictonico. It combines the AR games from the 3DS with Wario-style minigames. It uses photos from your phone that it then distorts to use in various little, I guess you can't even call them mini games. You should call them micro games because that's what I put in my notes. It looks like a decently fun time. The trailer was very awkward and funny as a result, but in an unintentional way, I imagine.
Yeah, I enjoy the wacky tone of a WarioWare, and this does have that kind of energy, but the usage of real actual faces is... You ever watch Japanese ramen commercials?
Yeah.
it's got that about it. There is a lot of human faces, fully photorealistic human faces being involved in these kinds of shenanigans is an aesthetic. I don't know that it's mine exactly.
Yeah. This game is priced at free to start, which is one of my least favorite pricing models. And it also sort of looks differently for every game that uses it. Destiny 2 was technically free to start, At least after a couple of years of its release and after it had sunsetted the first 3 parts of its main storyline. Which does not inspire a lot of confidence because it's also a mobile game, and monetization on mobile games is especially predatory.
Yeah.
I'm always sort of surprised by how many mobile games Nintendo actually has.
They're very quiet about it, but yeah.
And they make $7 billion each, right? Like whenever I've talked to you about this like privately, but whenever we cover like a Pokemon Presents, there's always like a long section of here's new things coming to Pokemon Cafe Remix, and here's new things coming to Pokemon Sleep. And Rosalie and I we're both like, we don't care about these games, and this episode's gonna be long enough already. Let's just not cover them. But there's so many of them. I mean, like Pokemon Go is kind of the biggest one, and there's like a Mario Kart game on mobile. That's like Mario Kart Tour.
Did they also have that Infinite Runner on mobile?
I think so. Yeah, they had like a Mario running game. I think it's just like called Super Mario Run or something.
Inspired. But yeah, this does look like the game itself, Pictonico. It looks fun and charming, and I can see how you want to get people on board ASAP with it and just make it feel like a thing they do with their phone, like a thing they think about with their phone when they take pictures. Like they'll take a picture for the sake of the picture itself and then think, oh, and I could do a Pictonico with this. But at some point, money has to come from somewhere.
Yeah.
And okay, micro games, microtransactions, but is that going to be for new games? Is that going to be for cosmetics? Are they going to Konami it and give you like limited numbers of save slots for your funny pictures and then make you pay to have more? I don't know. Like pie in the sky speculation at the moment.
Yeah. The game's not out yet as well, so I guess we'll see. I am now remembering that I forgot to write down the actual release date.
Got you covered. May 28th. So that's the day after tomorrow at time of recording.
Oh, sick. So by the time you're listening to this, it will probably be out.
Yep. And you'll be able to tell us exactly how it works and how wrong we were in our predictions.
Our next news story concerns Nintendo's patent trolling. They're sort of engaged in like a legal battle with mostly Palworld, Pocket Pair specifically, the company behind Palworld, and they're trying to patent a bunch of stuff to make Palworld less successful and have to change a bunch of stuff. And this battle is continuing, albeit this time unsuccessfully. So they applied for a patent with the code 2026-019762, in case you want to Google it yourself, that covers catching monsters via a touchscreen. Now, the most common and most logical to me guess, because we don't know their motives for sure, is that Nintendo is hoping to somehow impede the upcoming Palworld Mobile. Now, they filed this with the Japanese patent office, and they denied the patent application, citing a lack of inventiveness. I'm paraphrasing the reaction notice for this next bit. They found that given the previous existing works in the industry, including ones made by Nintendo themselves, any skilled person could put them all together into the form they're hoping to patent, meaning that there's no like clear evidence of we have put this all together and added something interesting and new that's worthy of patenting.
Yeah. The thing that Nintendo is hoping to patent and thereby block Palworld from using is not, in fact, a new concept. It is simply an arrangement of already existing concepts.
Yeah.
So, and like every once in a blue moon, a patent office will issue patents for like combinations of features, but that's because that combination actually achieves something that the individual components by themselves could not. That's mostly in like mechanical engineering and stuff, where you will see, well, actually, if you combine, the such and such with the so-and-so, then you actually don't need to lubricate this part that's always spinning because it's being enshrouded in the such and such. This is a bad example because I'm not read up enough on engineering to be able to do it justice, but basically, combinations of features are very occasionally patentable, but if they are, it's mostly in like meat space, definitely not digital.
Yeah. I do want to like give the caveat, of course, that we are not lawyers and nothing we say should be taken as legal advice. This is simply our interpretation of what's going on based on the articles that I have read. Mm-hmm. But this seems like a pretty cut and dry situation, and It's interesting because the last time we talked about Nintendo's patenting trolling thing was they had filed a patent. It had been granted. This was in the US, but then it was re-examined, and the head of the patent office, if I'm not misremembering, was like, hey, actually, we shouldn't have granted this, and we're going to revoke, I think it was 16 of the 20 clauses in the patent.
Yeah.
And so Nintendo's not doing so hot on this sphere right now. And honestly, good. This sucks. It's really petty that they're trying to do this to legally destroy, no, not destroy, legally inhibit a competitor.
Yeah. And if you've seen Pal World, we all can kind of tell that it is very nakedly trying to be Pokemon. I have no particular love for Pal World, consequently. I don't think there's a lot of artistry going into it. But they're allowed to do it. Nintendo's been doing this stuff since the 90s. At some point, you got to give up the ghost, especially when it comes to patent law, which is not like copyright. Copyright's been extended to death and back, but patent law is a lot more reasonable in terms of the expiration dates, which is probably why Nintendo's trying to file these new ones to try and block them out.
Yeah, it's funny, right? Because I always take a position in this situation that as a host of a Nintendo podcast, you maybe would not expect of me. But Nintendo has just a really bad history. We talk about this a lot, of just using the legal system as a giant mallet to destroy people. And like you, I don't really have a particular love for Pal World or its company Pocket Pair, but Nintendo is the asshole in this situation, you know?
Yeah. What makes this noteworthy isn't really that they are trying. What makes it noteworthy is that they are failing, because Nintendo does have a very long history of successfully wielding the legal system as a cudgel.
Yep.
They've won lawsuits against Disney. But yeah, this is them sort of brushing up against the limits of what they can get away with. And honestly, good. We wouldn't be doing this podcast if we didn't like Nintendo on, a fairly fundamental level. But I don't like the idea of billion-dollar mega corporations being able to just throttle their industry and effectively assert a monopoly on ideas.
Yeah, we're not here to lick boots.
No, unless you ask nicely.
The next news story is about the Legend of Zelda movie, in that the release date has been changed again. The previously announced release date was May 7th of 2027, but through Nintendo Today, again, and social media, which is how I found out, they announced that it was being moved up to April 30th. It's coming out sooner, which, if you know me at all and have been following my exploits for the past couple months, is so great for me, because I famously have a lot of free time in April to go see movies.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I mean, it is at the end of April, so it's more doable, but the extra week really would have been great for me. I still haven't seen the Super Mario Galaxy movie, and I don't even know if it's playing in theaters anymore.
I don't think so, my guy.
Well, then I have good news for me and people like me, because it's coming to our homes sooner than you might think. It already did very well in movie theaters, earning over $420 million in its first 50 days, according to Box Office Mojo. And by the time you're hearing this, i.e. tomorrow at time of recording, the 27th, you'll be able to buy or rent it for digital distributors already. And it's getting a physical media release date, 4K, Blu-ray, all that kind of thing, on June 16th. That's less than a month away, which is wild, but also cool.
I have a slight update, by the way. Still according to Box Office Mojo, but as of yesterday, the box office worldwide is estimated at $980 million.
Gross. I mean, cool, but that's
I
so much money.
I don't know if that's gross or net. I don't know if the taxes happen before or after.
That's very funny. Yeah, I think the 420 was domestic, if I'm not misremembering, i.e. the US.
Yes. Yeah. Before you ask, no, I haven't seen it yet either. The only movie I've gotten to see in theaters as of late was Project Hail Mary. It's very good. You should go see it.
And Summer Wars.
True. We did go see a 4K restoration of Summer Wars lately, which is also very good. You should go see that.
Yeah. Oh, what a movie. I love it so much. Yeah, I promise, I know I've said this like 10 times on this podcast by now. I promise I'll watch the first one at some point.
Oh, right. You haven't even
I'll
watched
get
the
around
first
to
one.
it. No, I haven't watched the first. Even you've watched the first one.
I watched it on a plane. And then
The
on
best
the same
place to
plane,
watch
I watched
movies.
Sonic the Hedgehog, which was a better movie. Come at me in the comments.
Yes, let's farm some engagement. And that's it for the news. It was actually a pretty, I guess you could call it a slow couple of weeks as far as Nintendo-focused video game news is concerned. Because boy, was there a lot of the other news.
Yep.
Like, development is ending on Destiny 2. That's pretty wild. Mm-hmm. But it's not on Switch, so we won't be covering it beyond that. So, now we're going to get into what we've been playing. You, as you said last time you were on this show, which was 2 episodes ago, I think, have been playing some Mega Man Battle Network.
I have, yeah. It's something that I've been meaning to check out for a long time. Like, as in, I own physical Nintendo magazines featuring reviews of these games that made me go, yes, I want to play them when I was a teenager.
Damn.
So yeah, it's been on the to-do list forever, and then in 2023 they finally released a very large bundle of all of them, Mega Man Battle Network Legacy Collection. And picked that up. Took me a while to get around to it, but I'm sort of getting started on it now. If you're not familiar with Mega Man Battle Network, it's basically a deck-building tactics RPG with a little grid for your movement. Mega Man always has like his little blaster that he can attack with, but that doesn't actually do a whole lot of damage. The main damage source is your cards in your deck, and you can draw cards every couple of seconds of charging. If you don't like the cards in your hand, you can sort of like do a mulligan and get more. I like it. It's a good, fun combat system. All of the cards and your opponents are like classic Mega Man enemies, weapons, sprites, etc. It's good. It's a good formula. Mega Man is... Look, I'm not touching the discourse with a 10-foot pole as to whether or not Mega Man is technically a robot in this or not. For all intents and purposes, he's an AI. He's Megaman.exe. That is his full legal name. That's how he was baptized. But yeah, he's not actually the protagonist of the story. The actual protagonist is a 10-year-old anime kid called Lan. His girlfriend's called Mail.
Oh my god.
Yeah, there's a lot of that in this.
I mean, that's a tradition that goes back to the origins of the Mega Man franchise, right? You got Rockman was his original name, and then you got Roll and stuff.
You say original name in Japan, that's just still what they call him. The Japanese title for this game is just Rockman.exe. But yeah.
Are you playing this? What platform are you playing this on?
Despite this being a Nintendo podcast, I am playing this on Steam because it was on sale there.
Yeah. So what do you think the odds are that the actual executable is Megaman.exe? It would be funny, right? They should have done that if they didn't.
I imagine the only reason they wouldn't is because I think the classic Mega Man games are already up there, and they don't want to...
Yeah, you just call that, Megaman.lc.exe for Legacy Collection.
I guess, yeah. But yeah, Mega Man is basically just Lan's Tamagotchi in this. Lan is a little legally not a Game Boy Advance, and Mega Man lives inside of that, and they can hook up to the internet, and together they compete in net battles against other people. It's very Metabots for the people here who've seen Metabots.
Hell yeah.
But I would say with marginally less collateral damage.
Yeah, it is kind of funny. Like when you think back to Metabots, which I've seen like bits and pieces of, it's like, yeah, this 11-year-old boy has a robot who has rocket launchers on its head. Surely this won't cause any problems.
There were literal toddlers with a teddy bear robot which had a flamethrower. Wait, sorry, let me check my notes. 2 flamethrowers. Metabots was great. I don't care who says what. Shout out to my boy Shrimpy Lipowitz.
There's got to be the insurance like industry in the Metabots universe must be absolutely wild.
Yep. Yeah. The writing is mostly actually quite funny. Like, this is a kids-focused game, but we lean hard into silly comedy. Speaking of silly, the main actual storyline characters are, like, their artwork is all, like, it's not just, like, gritty by any stretch of the imagination, but, you know, it looks like an anime. It's, you know, clean and nice and well-designed. All the NPCs have a delightful, uncanny valleyness to them, like, and they're not afraid to recycle faces, so, like, about 1 in every 5 people you talk to is basically a Kermit the Frog Jinka.
Okay, so I have a question about the NPCs in this game.
Yes.
There is a screenshot that goes around social media sometimes of, like, an old man. And when I say old man, I'm talking, like, proper geriatric.
Yeah.
But his dialogue box says, like, I'm 45 years old. Is that this game?
I haven't run into him yet, but what you're describing fits very well, honestly. Like, it's like a bunch of people got lost on the way to the auditions to Crayon Shin-Chan and somehow ended up in this game. It's insane.
Crayon Shin-Chan. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I'm busting out all of the classic anime on this one. Oh god, Crayon Shin-Chan counts as classic now. I'm so old. Anyway, actual story. Weirdly prescient in a way I really don't think they were intending, because this was like way back in 2001. This was actually a GBA launch title originally, fun fact. I found myself relating entirely too much about this storyline about the Internet of Things.
Oh, yeah.
Like, the first thing that happens is a series of house fires triggered by Wi-Fi connected ovens being hacked. And you ask, why would your oven be hooked up to the Wi-Fi? Great question. No good reason. And this is not just ovens. It's cars, which have individual software for accelerating and braking. It's the municipal water supply, which gets hacked on, like, day 2, meaning nobody has any water. Like,
we did mention Summer Wars earlier in this podcast.
Yep.
And that's also very that.
Yep. I feel like this game boldly envisioned a hyper-interconnected world at a time when that genuinely did not exist yet. Like, for our younger listeners, I cannot emphasize, the internet was barely a thing in 2001. Like,
yeah.
A distressing number of people, myself very much included, were still on dial-up internet at the time. The notion of a mobile, wireless, internet-connected device was radical in 2001.
This is very much a, like, don't invent the Torment Nexus kind of game, you know? Like, we have envisioned a world where everything is connected to the internet, and here's all the reasons why that's a bad thing. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, we as a society, or at least tech jerks in Silicon Valley, were like, but what if, though? What if we connected a water fountain to the internet for no goddamn reason? What if
that's in this game.
What if we made a barbecue that is connected to the internet and then push a software update on Thanksgiving so it doesn't work for anybody?
Mm-hmm.
I hate the future. I mean, there's a lot about it I like, but this part is so stupid.
And this game clocks that chillingly accurately. The saving grace is, in this game, all of the issues with the Wi-Fi future are caused by actual malevolent hackers, as opposed to just companies being bad at the job we paid them to do.
Yeah.
Because, there is a cyber terrorist organization called the WWW, who are definitely not led by Dr. Wily. It is definitely not a front by Dr. Wily. No, I'm not telling you which of those W stands for Wily. But yeah, they are being nefarious and wreaking havoc in the city. I'm not far enough into the story yet to be able to tell you exactly why. Given that it is Dr. Wily, I assume it's so that he can replace the Wi-Fi future with a wired one and his robots still have something to do. I don't know. I'll keep you posted, I guess.
That's like fairly sensible, honestly. Like, as far as evil plots go, if that is indeed his evil plot, like,
yeah, to be fair, he's done a lot wackier stuff than this. He once made a sentient, thinking, feeling robot because he needed someone to hold a sword in a museum.
Yeah. It is, like, very... Do you remember... I don't know if you've watched a lot of Rick and Morty, but there's, like, the one scene in
like
Rick and Morty...
half an episode.
Where it's, like, Rick builds a robot at the dinner table, and it's just, like...
Pass the butter.
Pass the butter. Mm-hmm. Wait, why do I exist? To pass the butter.
Oh
no!
Yeah, but how's the game actually play? Pretty good, honestly. Like, like I described it as a tactics RPG. That's usually a turn-based genre. This is real time, and it's like the combat is fast-paced and flows really nicely. Like, I have a lot of encounters that I literally finish in under a second because you could just select your card at the start of your first... I call it a turn, but really when I say turn, I just mean, like, you draw a handful of cards, and your next turn is in a couple seconds when your charge bar is full and you can draw more cards again. But it all plays out essentially in real time. And so if your opening hand just has a good card that could just wipe the enemy field... boom, you're good, and you move on. And the harder, trickier fights actually involve a lot of quick thinking and positioning. It's a good combat system. I like it. Unfortunately, at least in the first game, they kind of grind your face into it a bit. The rate of random encounters is very high.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, and it really is, because, like, there's really cool, really good music in a lot of areas that's hard to appreciate, because if you're like, I think the random encounters are tied to your movement and not time. So if you stand perfectly still, you can vibe out to the music, and that's great. If you're actually looking to move about and get work done, you're not hearing more than like 8 seconds worth of that cool track before you go into combat.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a bit of a shame. Like, I'm sort of tossing back and forth at the moment. Like, do I want to see if I can find a mod for this or something? I don't know if this is something that they sort of tweak in later installments, but I played this game for like 8.5 hours, and I definitely still have quite a lot of it left to go. But I am starting to feel that fatigue at this point, and it, the combat doesn't last long per se. Like I said, a lot of combat I can finish in less than a second, but it's awkward, herky-jerky pacing. You know what I mean? And like I said, it means you don't really get to immerse yourself in the vibes of the environment that you're in. This is sort of not helped by the actual environment design, because we have, it's the GBA, we're on an isometric top-down perspective, and the actual art style, the actual design of the environments is great. The way they depict the internet is a lot of really fun, abstract backgrounds that I honestly really like. Problem is, the camera can only zoom out so far, or rather, it can't zoom out at all. It's locked into a particular distance, and that distance is not super far, because we're working on what was originally a GBA screen, and that only had so much, pixel real estate to work with, and you want people to be able to see things. Unfortunately, the way they designed the internet is as a series of very convolutedly interconnected and overlapping pathways.
Mm-hmm.
And there isn't a map.
Oh, no.
So, like, once you've been around the block enough times, you sort of get a feel for most environments, but it can be hard to actually like, if you don't remember how to get where you're going, it could be quite tricky to assess how you need to get there outside of
Yeah.
just trial and error. And that is a bit of a non-bow with the high encounter rate.
Oh yeah. Is there at least like an XP system or something that having all these encounters does give you some like rewards?
There is not an XP system. Battles will reward you depending on how well and how if quickly and efficiently you finish them, ideally without taking damage and such. You get battle ratings all the way up to like S tier or S rank. And if you get a super high battle rating, you might get a new card for your deck. It could be like an enemy or like an attack from an enemy or something a little bit more generic, like just a cannon or a shotgun card, something like that. Not as in like Mega Man pulls out a shotgun, great as that would be, just sort of like he fires in a shotgun pattern.
Yeah.
If you have a lower battle rating, you get money, which you can spend at merchants. And they do sell things like increases to your max HP, but insofar as there's an actual leveling mechanic, that's based on obviously building up your deck and tuning things like the damage done by Mega Man's blaster. Because the thing that you're doing when you aren't playing actual cards from your hand is you're shooting enemies with Mega Man's blaster.
Yeah.
Those upgrades are actually very, very rare. So
Okay.
the random encounters are good utility to make sure you get money for health so you don't die. Although later areas can get pretty spicy and like, pro tip everybody, this is a game with manual saving and no checkpoints. Get into the habit of manual saving, because if you enter a completely new area that you've never been to before, there's an excellent chance that there's something in there that will just wreck you, actually, until you
Yeah.
figure out how to fight it properly.
GBA games, baby.
There's also an elemental weakness system going on, and Mega Man himself doesn't have one, but you might need to figure out how to tune things correctly. Like, I felt very proud of myself the first time I beat Woodman by using Fireman against him for double damage.
Yeah.
And that part sounds obvious, but, like, there's like 5 or 6 different elements, I can't remember. And all of them, including the neutral one, do actually have weaknesses, so have fun figuring all of that out.
Yeah.
It's-
There's some like more obvious ones, and then there's like, I don't know. There's so many like robot masters nowadays. It's like, okay, well, what's Magnet Man weak to? Electricity, maybe? I don't know.
I don't know how they work. So, yeah, like, it's a pleasantly cromulent, meaty battle system.
Cromulent.
But it does not mess around. I do wish that there was some amount of either a map or an ability to lower the encounter rate, because the actual story and the sort of mini dungeons they make for the story, the boss fights, all of that, that's quite fun, and the writing is charming, and the dialogue is pretty good. Like, it's aimed at kids, so, like, you will literally never be surprised at the quote-unquote surprise villains, but there's jokes, and they're just actually funny.
Yeah, nice.
Like, in a game with 0 voice acting, there is an argument about whether it's pronounced GIF or GIF, which is dismissed by somebody saying potato, potato.
They knew what they were doing.
They did.
I miss like there's still games without voice acting nowadays, obviously, but there's something magical about not having voice acting and so having to write dialogue differently or do animation differently to still get the comedy, right? Like the go-to example is Lego Star Wars. They had so much more like physical comedy before they added voice acting to the series, and it's kind of just funnier.
I should clarify, like, I'm talking a lot about the battles in the internet space. That's because that's where all combat happens. Like, when you are playing as Lan just in the overworld, i.e. the real world, there's never any combat happening there exactly. Like, sometimes it'll be like, your high school bully slash rival will be like, I challenge you to a net battle. And I think you can usually actually refuse him. But, like, if you say yes, you get out the GBA link cable and you have a fight, getting into the internet itself is not just a push it and we're here now. You have to find places. You have to, like, find land ports to jack into. And
It's like Digimon Cyber Sleuth, except there it's less land ports and more find a computer and schlorp yourself in.
see, it's pretty close, except we're living in the dystopian future of the Internet of Things. So you kind of need to check most things in the environment to see if they have a port. You might not think that your doghouse has an internet connection. The doghouse has an internet connection because it's not actually a doghouse. It's a security system.
Okay.
The piano has an internet connection.
Why?
The GameCube has an internet connection, which, unless you're playing Phantasy Star Online 3 CARD Revolution, I call shenanigans on. The overworld stuff is mostly sort of puzzles, figuring out, like, oh, you need to get into this part of the building that you're not allowed into. You need to find a key card. Where would you find a key card? Well, your dad works here. You never see your dad because he's always off doing important government business, but you can go up to his office and steal his key card from his coat. Things like that. So there is kind of a rhythm in between combat and non-combat. It's just the deeper you get into it, the more that rhythm gets a little distorted by, like I said, the very high rate of random encounters.
Yeah.
I haven't finished this game yet. I do want to. Like I said, I am at the point where I'm considering maybe finding a mod or something to help me along with that just a bit, just because I want to have fun with this game, but it's starting to, like, not let me very much. And I think that is kind of inherent to some of the design as well, because you run pretty frequently into people who want to trade cards. Side note, I've been saying cards this whole time because functionally that's what it is, and that's how most people would be familiar with these kinds of mechanics, but officially they're meant to be chips for different AI. And, like, a lot of it is just, hey, keep an eye out for this particular kind of chip. If you find it, trade for me, and I'll trade it to you for this specific kind of chip that's otherwise a little hard to get. And you're like, okay, cool. And then some of them are like, hi, I need 50 of these.
What?
And when I say of these, what do I mean? I mean a fairly common box standard attack from a fairly common box standard enemy, which you can only get by getting a, like, rank 10 or rank S battle against that enemy.
I hope you like grinding.
Yeah, and even in a game with a high risk, with a high level of random encounters, that means you need to just do random encounters, hoping that you actually get that enemy as your opponent, which, depending on the area you're in, is not a high likelihood. And B, that you actually have a good hand so you can wipe the floor with them to get a higher ranking. And then C, hope that when you get that high ranking, you actually get that particular chip and not another chip or just a lot of money, which is also a possibility. And I'm just sitting here like, did they actually think this was okay? Like, that does not strike me as fun. I'm not, like, I keep a sort of a notepad of all of my, like, things I want to do. I did not bother writing that one down. I refuse. I'm not wasting that much of my time. Yeah. I will say, if you can get this on Switch, I do recommend that over Steam, because this is genuinely fantastic game for when you're on the go. If you have a commute that involves public transportation, and anything I've said appeals to you, get this game. It's fun, and it's very well suited to that kind of pacing, because you can save anywhere, and the battles don't take very long, and it flows very nicely. If you're sitting down at a computer and the main thing you're looking to do is play this game, it can bog down a bit. I'll keep you posted. I'll see if any mods can sort of clear this issue, and I'll check to see if the sequels get better at this. I do want to dive some more into this franchise. I have been doing some research as well, sort of leading up to this episode. Although I did not have time to completely finish that research. Particularly, I am fascinated by the claim on Wikipedia that some of these games apparently came out on the Wonder Swan color.
That's my go-to, like, hey, remember this weird console that nobody remembers?
It genuinely does fit the time frame, because the Wonder Swan color came out December of 2000, and this game came out in March of 2001, so it's frustratingly plausible. I just can't find a citation for Love Nor Money. So, watch this space as we do some deep investigative journalism and ask the hard-hitting questions. But yeah, so far, that's my experience with Mega Man Battle Network. I'm having a good time with it. It's not perfect, but it's very, very good at being a portable title in a very classic kind of way.
I have a couple notes that I looked up as well. The I am 30 years old man thing is from the follow-up series Mega Man Star Force,
right?
Which is my favorite take on this formula. It was on the DS, and it had like dual screen stuff. It was very cool. There's also a Legacy collection for those, and the other one is this collection, because you're playing this in the Legacy collection on Steam, is also Steam Deck verified. So if you do have it on Steam and you do have a Steam Deck, you can play it portably that way, and it should work A-okay.
Woo! I don't have a Steam Deck, but woo!
I do. I use it very rarely. The problem with the Steam Deck, not to get like too off the rails here, is it's a very, very cool piece of tech, but it is actually just too big to be used as a portable device. Like, it takes up... If you put it in the carrying case, and the carrying case, it has to be hard, so that your device doesn't get damaged. And that's just like a third of your backpack. So if you're like, say, you have to bring like a lunchbox because you're going to work or something like that, and your backpack isn't very big, then and also the fan is very loud, and you will get people looking at you if you play it on the bus or something.
I'll take it over people who just listen to music on their phone without bothering to put in earplugs.
Ugh. It's like we forgot how to exist in public spaces. It pisses me off.
Can you tell we're in our 30s, but also we are right?
I was on a very long train ride yesterday. The day before yesterday. I definitely know what day it is today. And... it was the very classic Dutch situation of, hey, we're in the silent section of the train. Why are you two talking? And I actually said something about it. I don't do that very often, but it was bothering me. Like, I was wearing noise-canceling headphones, and I could follow their conversation. Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, that's not just rude. That is actually, for those who don't know, that's actually against, like, the terms of service of our public rail system, and they post, like, rules about that very clearly. Like, usually, like, I say usually, I don't often find myself in that situation, but if I do, I just sort of, like, pointedly tap and ask people, like, hey, what's this written on the glass here? Because the word silent is, in fact, written prominently on the windows in the silent compartment.
Yeah.
So I just sort of, like, shame people.
Good.
Shame.
We're big fans of shaming people here on N-Focus. We all know this.
But what have you been playing?
I have been playing Elementallis.
Woo! How's that been going for you?
Not great, to be honest.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So I was sort of craving like a top-down Zelda kind of like experience, because as longer-time listeners of the podcast will know, my first Zelda was Minish Cap. I love that game very much. My favorite Zelda is Link Between Worlds, which is also a top-down Zelda. So I was craving sort of like a similar kind of experience like that. And I saw just by chance that Elementalist got released like the day that I was thinking about it. So I was like, yeah, I'll pick it up. It sort of got like a 10% launch day sale on the Switch eShop. So I bought it. And I didn't like it very much. which is a pity because there's a lot of it that would appeal to me, right? Like it is the top-down Zelda that I wanted, or at least that I hoped for, and it's like a very like elemental themed game, as you may have guessed from the title, which always appeals to me a lot. I'm a big fan of that. Avatar: The Last Airbender was a foundational text in my media experience and preferences. It's got like a cool premise. The world is governed by 8 elements, 8 of them, not 4, and each of them has like a different themed zone of the world. Years ago, your parents traveled around the world doing something to them that made them work improperly. So you got like in the fire area, the volcano stopped spewing lava, or yes, lava. It's magma when it's inside, because the fire element doesn't work properly. And then in the water area, it started a never-ending rain when it's supposed to be like a sunny beach kind of area. And so you travel around the world, going to each elemental temple and like making the element work again, because an elemental, like a little weeny tiny little elemental creature showed up at your house basically and was like, hey, we're friends now, without dialogue. And going to each of these temples and fixing the element also gives you an elemental power to go along with it. So the fire element gives you a fireball projectile that also can burn down like thorn bushes. The nature element, which is a plant, it creates like a plant on the ground that creates like an area of effect where after a while an enemy that's in it will like lose some health and you'll gain back a quarter heart, which is not a lot, but it's better than nothing, I suppose. That kind of and all of these have like combat potential, and they have combat usages and traversal usages as well, which I like in theory. And each zone you go to, it has its own like little community that are being affected. Like I said, the beach area where the water element is, they primarily do fishing, and that becomes very dangerous when it's constantly raining and storming, and so a lot of them are just like basically locked in their houses. And so there's like a minor like personal involvement with, I'm not only doing this because it's the right thing to do, but that I'm also trying to help these specific people get back to lives the way they're used to living them. Biggest issue with the game, and the reason I stopped playing it, is that the dungeons are not very fun. They're annoying to navigate, and the puzzles aren't very interesting. I dropped out during the Earth Temple, which is the 5th one, right? Because I did fire, nature, ice, and water. Yeah. So I was in the Earth Temple, and I was like, I'm out. This isn't fun anymore. It's full of spike traps and arrow traps. But even like the water and fire ones before it had their own annoyances. The fire one has like a minecart system that's super annoying to use.
Sounds like it's drawing from a slightly different era of 2D Zelda, because you're reminding me a lot of Link to the Past. My medium hot take is I don't enjoy playing Link to the Past. I love everything about the aesthetics and what it does for like establishing the tone and vibe of Zelda, and I detest playing it because it's just not a fun game to go through. The dungeons just grind you down, and by the sounds of it, that's what happens here too.
Yeah, my like big example from the Earth Temple is it actually, one of the things I do like about the way the dungeons are designed is that they make you use like all of your previously attained elemental powers to navigate the dungeon. So you use the nature element to make vines to climb to reach higher areas. You use the water element to create a water bubble around yourself to be able to walk on water. You use the fire element to light torches so you can see in the dark. You know, pretty basic stuff, but I like that it builds and builds and builds like a Zelda game like a Zelda-like game is supposed to. The problem is, this very specific example, the water element, the bubble you create, in combat it functions like a shield that breaks after one hit.
Okay, yeah.
Your movement is very slow when you're on the water, and there was this one area that had arrow traps that were shooting arrows out of the wall. And so you have to time it right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to time it right, or else they pop the bubble. And then the bubble gets popped, and you fall in the water. And then you can't swim, so you go back to the shore and lose a health, a whole heart.
In a game where
And
healing happens a quarter heart at a time when it happens.
yeah, and this wouldn't bother me nearly as much if the game wasn't extremely stingy with healing. Like, you can find like heart things in like grass and plants and jars and stuff, but barely. Like, you die so often in this game, and I just stopped having fun, basically.
Yep.
Also, you can carry healing potions. God, you can carry healing potions,
Helium
but
potions.
you only have limited inventory space. You start with one, and you have a maximum of 8. And the inventory space upgrades are also really hard to find. So I'm at the 5th dungeon, and I have 3 inventory slots for potions.
Yeah. Do the potion, like, is this like an actual Zelda game where the bottles you would use for potions might also need to be used for other things?
No, they're consumable items.
Okay, that's nice, although it doesn't, yeah. That does not mitigate your issue where there's just not actually enough healing to go around.
Yeah, and so I've like, I think it was especially the ice temple where I just had to fight the boss like 7 times before I beat it, and at that point I was like, I know what I'm supposed to do here. I just literally don't have enough health, so I have to get basically lucky to beat this boss.
And
Which
like,
sucks.
Is it what would you say the odds are that, like, well, it's a big open world, you can go exploring and find like optional mini dungeons or something where there might be more health upgrades?
There is a bit of that. Yeah, like there's like in Zelda games, there's like pieces of heart, which you can, and if you find 4 of them, it upgrades your max health, and after every boss, you get a full one to upgrade your max health. So by the time of the Earth Temple, I think I had like 8 or 9 hearts. And there's also, you can find elemental ore, or some, I forget what it's called, but it's some sort of ore that increases your attack and defense stats. So you take less damage from combat, not from traps or falling in the water,
Yep.
if you upgrade your armor, for instance. Mm-hmm. So there's like stuff you can do, but I don't know. Like, there's enough working against you in this game that I don't really feel the need to continue playing it. Like, the combat is also just kind of stiff, which is unfortunate. And the one thing I'm really missing from this game that you do have in 2D Zeldas and you don't have in this is a roll. Mm-hmm. So navigating the world also just feels a bit slow. You can block. You do have a shield, but when you have enemies that move around quite, especially bosses that move around quite as much as they do, the shield isn't actually all that useful. And so without having the ability to like dodge more effectively than being able to then just walk away and hope for the best, combat is also just like kind of hard. Mm-hmm. And when it's both hard and stiff, it's not actually fun for me.
Yeah, like, I'm okay with hard combat so long as it's responsive and smooth.
Yeah, and the thing that bothers me most about it is a thing that also exists in especially Minish Cap, but to a lesser extent, I will say, is the arc your sword does when you swing it. It sort of stops like in front of you. So it starts from the right and then it moves into in front of you. And so if an enemy is like, say, slightly to the left of you, you just don't hit it.
Yep. That's Link to the Past to a T right there. The frigging sword arc in that. Yep. They knew what they were doing, and I'm not happy about it.
And like it is a real pity because like I really love the aesthetics in this game. I really love the premise of this game. Some of the environments are quite nice. I love the music. It's like a good combination of like classic, like sort of chiptune music, but they have some like electric guitars in there depending on the area. Like there's a lot of interesting stuff going on in the music. and I would probably just listen to this soundtrack. But and there's some fun like writing in the dialogue. Like there's characters that have like interesting personalities, and they have some like funny lines and stuff in there. But the actual game just is not fun enough to keep me continuing to play it.
That's a shame. But by the sounds of it, entirely justified.
To be honest, to give you a preview of the next segment, which is what we're going to be playing, I'm hoping that the upcoming Mina the Hollower, which comes out later this week, will sort of scratch this itch for me a lot better. Because it's also like a top-down sort of Zelda-ish game, and it's by Yacht Club Games, and their games always feel very good, at the very least. So I'm very excited to play that. You might enjoy this game better than I did, you know. Your mileage may vary. I basically say this every time, but I cannot recommend this based on my own experiences. All right, that's going to take us to the part of the show where we talk about what we're going to be playing. You will basically already know it for me. I'm very close to the end of Monster Hunter Stories 3. I promise. I'm getting there. And I'm also going to be picking up Mina the Hollower when it comes out later this week, because I'm very excited for it.
I don't need to keep playing Monster Hunter Stories 3. I can quit anytime I want.
I did spend a lot of time last night unlocking like some of the really wild, like mutated monsters. Like, there's some cool stuff in there with some pretty whack mutation unlock requirements. But they look very cool, and they're very powerful, and excited to get them. How about you, Seskra?
I'm going to be playing some Hades 2 in the not-too-distant future.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, been meaning to for absolute donkeys. I was going to say donkey's years. It hasn't actually been out for, like, more than 2 years. And that's if you include the early access, which I don't, because you could have played this game back when it was still actually, like, very honestly in development with, like, placeholder art and such. And that's cool. I didn't want to play it that way. I wanted the finished, seamless experience, because I, like, an issue with keeping up with early access games is you can kind of sort of wear yourself out on it before you finish it, and then when the time comes to finish it, you've already put way too many hours into it, and you don't really want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
So,
cards on the table, I didn't know it was out of early access.
Yep. Apparently, it is officially now done as of April 14th, which is also when it got releases on PS5 and Xbox Series X. Wait, sorry, they rebranded Xbox Series X. It's now all caps.
Yeah, based on a Twitter poll. That's so funny and kind of embarrassing. It's okay. This is very like, look, we're wrestling fans. We have to bring it up every now and then. Remember the time that Ryback did that Twitter poll? It's just like, where do you want the big guy to go next? It's like WWE, Impact, AEW, or retire. And retire by far got the most votes.
Which would be embarrassing enough in and of itself, but then he reran it 3 more times, each time insisting he had gotten rid of the bots and the haters.
Yeah.
And it's like, my dude, my guy. The reason nobody called you is nobody likes you.
And reportedly your asking fee is way too high.
That too. But yes, I adore Hades 1. I think it's easily Supergiant Games' best game so far, and put a lot of hours into it. Originally, that was on the Switch, and I had a fantastic time with it. This time, I'm going to be playing it from the word go on Steam, and I'm really looking forward to it so much. Like, it took me a long time to sort of, like, Hades is always an interesting one for me because I distinctly remember having to develop a literacy for it. Like, I had to learn how to properly read the landscape with the isometric perspective, because the art style was so well integrated that it took me actually quite a while to really develop a sense of like what is navigable terrain, what is impassable terrain, what is an enemy, what is an attack, what is a particle effect. And until you really get your head down around that, it can be very hard to fight that game on anything past the first like couple levels.
Yeah.
But once I got the hang of it, boy, did I get the hang of it. I went hard and deep on that one, to the point of hitting credits twice, and not stopping after that even. So I loved Hades 1, adored Hades 2 as soon as I heard that it was just announced and it was in development. I think this game, it didn't get delayed, but it did have the early access, and so for me, effectively that amounted to a delay, because they originally said, oh yeah, it's going to be out in 2025. And it was playable and buyable in 2025, but it wasn't finished yet.
Yeah.
It is now. And yeah, like, more Hades. Like, so for those of you who haven't played it and are like, why am I so excited about this? It's isometric perspective, roguelike, action. I was going to say action adventure. There's not even that much adventure in it, to be honest. Like, there's essentially no puzzles, as it were. But it's beautiful. It's like tighter than a walnut corset, to steal a phrase from Yahtzee Croshaw, in terms of the combat design. All of the characters were immediately distinct, likable, and had more depth than you would initially give them credit for. The music is incredible. Darren Corbin, absolute beast.
Have you ever listened to the like symphonic arrangements from like the special album they released?
I have not, but
I'll send it to you.
Yeah.
I have it.
Of course you do. I say lovingly, but of course you do. This time around, we have new gods. We have a new protagonist. Very much looking forward to that as well, because Zagreus was a really good character, but his story was, by the end of Hades, very complete, and I'm glad that we're not just doing oh shiz, here we go again. Like, no, like different character, different personality. We're not doing Die Hard 2. This is not a Die Hard 2 situation.
Yeah.
And in terms of like ball-bearing smooth gameplay, like Vanta Black ball-bearing smooth gameplay, this is like tippity-top cream of the crop, as like in the entire gaming industry. Like, you want smooth combat? I struggle to think of a better game to mention than Hades.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to see what they can do, like, iterating on that. I'm also just, like, I was the Greek mythology kid in school, and high school, and university, and now, like, hi, I like Greek mythology, sue me. So, can't wait to see who they bring in for this. I've been not dancing around this one, because for, like, it's only comparatively quite recently that it was actually done.
Yeah.
And once it was, I had a lot of other stuff on my plate. Like, I can say this now because by the time this podcast will be out, the other podcast will be out as well. But on the most recent Unfocused, I talk about the Halo Master Chief Collection, which meant playing the entirety of the Halo Master Chief Collection in like 8 days. So, you know.
Cards on the table, this episode is probably going to be out before the next Unfocused.
No, spoilers! Hyoka, you're spoiling it! We have to artificially delay it now.
I'll edit this part out, don't worry.
It's okay, we'll say there were technical difficulties. But yeah, so I've been wanting to get to this for a while. I'm glad I'm finally going to get the chance. This is I've been playing a lot of games lately that I've really enjoyed, but I have not felt the need to really nosedive into and really get a grip on them. The last time that happened was, I think, for Bloodborne.
Yeah.
And even then, Bloodborne was actually not as hard as I thought it might be, which, you know, I consider a good thing by and large. But, like, this is going to be buckle up, y'all kind of situation. And frankly, I'm looking forward to it. It's been too long.
Hell yeah.
How
Delighted
about
for
you?
you. I won't be playing Hades 2. I've said my piece on roguelikes, although I did try Slay the Spire again recently because I played the board game over the weekend. Got to Act 2. Didn't go too badly.
So look forward to the debut episode of N Focus Unplugged.
That's going to do it for our show. Thank you all for listening. Thank you, Seskra, for stepping in for Rosalie. We didn't acknowledge it at the top of the show. She's unavailable this week. She's not home, and so she couldn't record. But she should be back for the next episode, and she'll be back for next week's Tuesday stream as well, where we'll be playing more Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. So look forward to that. Also, in streaming news, we'll be streaming this Saturday, playing more Iconoclasts. Mm-hmm. I hope you all enjoyed listening to the show. I know we had a very good time recording it.
As always.
I have been Hilka. Joining me this week has been my co-host Seskra, and we'll talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey everybody, Hilka here. I just wanted to say thank you for listening to this episode of N Focus. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave us a review on iTunes. It really helps us get noticed. Also, please tell your friends if you think they'd be interested. Word of mouth really helps too. You can also listen and subscribe on Spotify, other podcast services, and YouTube. And if you are listening on YouTube, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, be sure to check out our sister show, Game Podular Unfocused. Seskra's on that show, and if you like the cut of their jib, you'll like that show as well. Follow us on Blue Sky and at GamePodular.com for updates, news, and other content. Links to all of our socials, including our Discord and Blue Sky, may be found at our Linktree. If you'd like to support our shows, you can buy us a coffee and become a Game Podular patron on the Patreon. The details for both are on our website. Thank you! This episode was edited by me, Hilka, and you could follow me at gear12turbo.eurosky.social on Blue Sky. I was joined today by Seskra, who you can find at seskrathespider.bluesky.social on Blue Sky. Have a good one!